Today, we are speaking with Arielle Lapiano, a Chief Communications Officer. Arielle started her career as a paralegal before moving into the public relations and communications industry. Having worked with companies such as Paul Hastings, Celent and Earnity, Arielle has worked her way up the corporate ranks to Chief Communications Officer in the crypto industry. Arielle is also a woman and girls advocate, and along her journey, she founded a nonprofit that created empowering products for women, with all proceeds going to charities that support girls. I'm really excited to learn more. Arielle, thank you for joining us. Please, could you tell us a little bit more about your story and getting to where you are today? Here's the big question. How do you create your most authentic, successful, and fulfilling life? The Fresh Blood podcast studies the stories of people over the age of 40 who are thriving in life, finding those core golden threads that connect the underlying successes, those universal truths. I'll be your host, Jolie Downs. Listen and learn from the stories of others to help you soar and live the life that you were meant to thrive in.
Thank you, Julie. I really appreciate it. Well, my story sort of feels like it has a dark beginning, but I swear it has a happy ending. So I think
Tell
something
us.
that sort of helps frame my story is at a kind of young age, I was threatened by a family member with a, I know it sounds scary, with
Oh,
my
that is.
baby sister.
Oh, what
I was like,
happened?
so she wasn't that much of a baby, but she was probably 9, I was probably 12, and we were alone in the house, and she was really angry at me, and she grabbed a kitchen knife. I was like, I'm gonna kill you, like really, really angry. It was like, like how when you're having a dream and it feels so real,
Yeah.
sort of how it went, and I use that as a story to share with you because my sister actually had some serious challenges growing,
Mm.
and was later diagnosed, much later
Mhm.
diagnosed, adult with borderline personality disorder.
Oh, wow.
Um,
That must have been
that
really hard as a kid growing up and not knowing and just having to deal with it.
it was right. So it was kind of like what, um, it was kind of like walking on eggshell
Mhm.
my entire childhood.
Wow.
But the really happy ending of that is that it meant that I needed to learn how to survive in
Mhm.
my sort of challenging environment.
Yeah.
And when I look back on my life, I think that it helped me to thrive in
Mhm.
really difficult environments and with really difficult people.
Oh,
And how
right.
so I
Oh.
think that's to me the happy ending because as I take a look back at my career,
Mhm.
things that I have in common throughout all the crazy stuff I've done is I've always had to rely on my communication skills
Mhm.
and to be really smart about how I use them. So early on, I think when I went to family therapy as a kid,
Mhm.
therapists like, you're a mediator, you're a peacemaker in this family. And that's sort of what I've done throughout my entire career. I've
Right.
either been a peacemaker, I was an investigator, I was a writer, I was an interviewer, and of course, a communications professional. I'm helping people think about when and why and how to say things
Mhm.
because I learned how to be really smart about them. I mean, it was literally survival, felt like it was survival for me. And now I'm at the point in my career where I'm also starting to explore coaching.
Oh, interesting. Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, a sort of scary, dark beginning, but it's what allowed me to learn how to thrive and to pass on these skills to other
Right.
people now as a trainer.
And isn't that the truth with so much of our scary stories, our difficult aspects that we've gone through? When we're able to learn from them, they are able to bring us gifts in different ways. And you had this very difficult aspect of your childhood, but I love that you were able to see the gift that is given you in your adulthood. and been able to carry that through. I think that's amazing. And we all have the ability to do that. It's just, we have to look at it and take a quick evaluation. So I love that you did that. Now, how did you deal with it though? I'm just curious because as a teenager and I mean as a young kid, that there's a lot. I'm curious if there was anything that helped you get through that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I think that throughout my years, my friends were so important to me. It's not so
Hmm.
simple, but it's really the truth. And I fell into a lot of leadership positions as a teenager in particular. I loved high school. I mean, kind of like I wish I was still in high school.
So you had the great high school experience.
I loved high school. Like I was, I actually know my husband from high school, believe it or not, too.
Oh, that's great.
I loved high school. I was like junior class president. I was the debate team president. I mean, captain, and I was captain of the swim team to balance out the nerdiness. It was organization and the team, but it was like in high school, I think that's when I sort of understood a little bit more what I had to offer.
Hmm. Mm,
And I had also people believe in me. And
that's so important.
and that's when I started believing in myself.
Ooh, isn't that big? That's a big deal for that young. Not everyone is able to find that belief in themselves at a young age. What helps you find that?
I think again it was survival. It was like
Mm,
again like okay, nobody is going to believe or I'm not going to succeed unless I believe in myself. Like so um I was doubted a little bit by my father. He's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful man. He's still alive. I love him to bit. He doubted what I could achieve.
mhm.
And I think that there's like a way you can deal with it. Like you can deal with it like, okay, I suck and he's right. Or you can be a little bit like, oh yeah, I'm gonna show you.
Yes.
There's just like something actually it's interesting. Like I think that's sort of part of what happened is that
Mhm,
it's like that, oh yeah, I'm gonna show you helped me through my formative years, right? And then
mhm.
it like has helped me ever since. It was like, you're gonna doubt me? I will show you.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah. D I'm not gonna let anyone shut me down.
Not to let anyone shut me down and, like,
Yeah,
still, like, with my dad, like, I still, like I think, like, I still kind of, like, am surprising him, which is awesome,
yeah,
like, it's like it I'm not saying it as a negative thing to my
yeah,
dad. It's, like, awesome, I think it, like, empowered me. I'm not, like, sitting here and, we won't talk about the how
yeah.
overboard I am, right? But I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, poor me. My daddy didn't believe in me." I was like,
Right,
"You know what?
right.
My dad had some, like, healthy doubt."
Mhm.
And yeah, like,
Yeah.
and I proved him wrong again and again. And like my favorite was, I mean, I had a couple of favorites, but like, he didn't let me apply to the schools I wanted to when I
Mhm.
was, going to like apply to colleges.
Why?
I think because he wanted me home. Like, I think that's
Okay,
wanted me
okay, yeah.
because
I
like
understand that. Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of
Yeah,
maybe your listeners might like resonate too, as
yeah,
we have college kids and stuff. Like, he wanted to keep me home. He's kind of bribing me with a car.
yeah.
Anyways, I wanted to go to school in California. He's like, no.
Oh, wait, where were you? What state?
Grew up in Queens in New York City,
Okay, in New York, okay.
in New York, and so he's like, like stay at home. All this thing ended up. I did end up staying at home my first
Mhm,
year of college, and then I secretly applied um, to Vassar College and Sarah Lawrence. And I didn't. The sort of backstory is too that I didn't get into Vassar at first. Like I applied when I was in high school, and I
mhm,
didn't. It was another situation where I could have said, all right, whatever. I suck. I'm not
yeah.
that material.
I'm not good enough.
not good enough, but I went to Queens College my first year. I killed it,
Yes.
I loved it too, but I just wanted to do something different. I was like, I am going to reapply,
Yes.
and I'm going to reapply on my own, because my sort of story too was that I was forced to work with my mother on my essay. It was like my dad's like, "You need to sit and work with your mom," da da da.
Yeah.
And she, so my essay became too much her essay. And so
Mhm.
I secretly applied to Vassar College um as a freshman at Queens College, and I got in. And I applied
Yes.
and I applied to Sarah Lawrence, and I got in. And I was like able to go back to my parents and be like, I got in.
I can feel that moment.
And then I still remember years later too when I got into Columbia for graduate school. I think I almost gave my dad a heart attack. I actually I remember I can go back to my house in Queens and remember the sort of setup.
That's great. I mean, you sound like you had your head on straight for a high school and college kid. But I'm curious. I mean, we all learn so much as we grow through the years. Is there any advice that you would give yourself now, knowing what you know now, to your high school or college age self?
So it's such an interesting question, because the honest truth is that I feel like, I don't know how sad this sounds, but there was some spark in high school.
Uh huh.
So I loved high school me. So I think if anything, I'd be like, don't let anybody extinguish your spark.
Ooh, that's
That's
good.
what it would be.
Yeah.
I feel like if
Hmm.
anything, high school me was awesome. When adult me kind of got, I don't want to say less awesome, but it was just the world started getting me down.
Starts
Yeah,
covering you. It's all these layers.
yeah. So I think there was so keep the spark alive, I'd say, to young, nerdy debate team.
Personally, I think debate is the most important thing that you can take in high school. This is my own personal opinion. I made my first son. I'm trying to make my second son, who is absolutely fighting me. But I think it's
I mean, I have an eighth grader who's going into high school, and I went with her to this sort of high school career, whatever, fair, high school
yeah,
fair, and the debaters were there to recruit her that
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Well, it
Um,
serves you so well in life, right? I mean, your communications, look at how your communications have served you. I mean, you are in a job that specializes in communications. However, that communication experience, I'm sure, serves you in every aspect of your life, I would imagine.
it is. So, if I can be a commercial to your second son for debate team, I can honestly tell you that I feel like it's probably one of the most impactful things I've done with my life, being on the
Awesome.
debate team,
Yeah.
and I mean, I joke that I've never given up my my role as captain of yeah,
Well, it teaches you how to express yourself and get what you want, really, I mean, and
it
that's
really does. Yeah. Yeah.
that's what we all want. We wanna get what we want. So so learn how to do that.
Good.
So now you started in the paralegal industry and then you went into communications. What happened there? What spurred you into a new direction?
So I mean, it was a little bit of a circuitous route, I would say, so I was interested in becoming a lawyer, or my dad was interested in me becoming a
I think a lot of people might resonate with that too.
lawyer. I should add too, I'm a nice Jewish girl, which sometimes gets covered up by the fact that I married a nice Italian boy. It's just so much a part of Jewish, in particular, it feels like New York Jewish culture,
Uh-huh.
I'm a doctor or a lawyer.
I gotcha.
I mean, I had very professional intellectual parents. So I was pursuing looking into law.
Mhm.
And it was apparent to me very quickly that it wasn't my thing. It wasn't my I went on to become, of all things, an investigator of police
So
misconduct.
interesting. How did that happen?
I was recruited, like, it was,
Okay, yes.
so I was thinking about, back when you were young, like, you got recruited for
Yeah.
things too. And that was amazing, like an absolutely amazing experience. Um, then I actually took a little hiatus to help my sister who was going through some tough times
Mhm.
again. And then I went back to graduate school and I studied international affairs. I thought I was going to become like a diplomat.
Mhm.
That was at one point my
Fascinating.
thing. 9/11 occurred during my time
Oh, wow.
at graduate school. That changed my life view a little bit. Or at
Yeah,
least
and you were in New York at the time,
I
right?
was in New York.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, I was in New York at Columbia. I mean, we could smell the smoke at Columbia. We
Wow.
could see the smoke. And it just changed how I wanted to spend my life. I went from thinking that I wanted to live abroad to being like, you know what, maybe I'll stay closer to home. Be
Mhm.
I wanted to be close to my family.
Yeah.
So, and then of course the world to change, the economy changed.
Mhm.
So, I ended up out of school becoming a reporter. And I didn't go in thinking I wanted to be a reporter, but it was a very good use again of those skills that
Yes.
I developed. And it was a really good way to sort of scratch the curiosity muscle.
Mhm. Oh, I
Or,
could imagine.
so I
What
loved
did
it. I loved it. But I was, I joke, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful to my reporter friends, but I felt too nice to be as good a reporter as I
I
was.
understand this. You have to get into people's I mean, that's hard to do when people
Yeah.
are struggling, and I don't wanna do it.
I always wanted to write like the profile pieces of people. I
Mhm.
wanted the fluff piece.
The fl yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just write the fluff. I love the fluff piece. So I was a little, again, I think I was a good reporter, but moving then to PR and communication felt like really, really good home for me. And that's where I've been. And now I'm taking it hopefully to another level, which is to become a communications coach as
Oh,
well.
awesome. I think that's great, and I think it's really interesting that you were a paralegal, you were looking at law, then you went into communications, which was your jam, but then you ended up finding a communications role in a law firm. I thought that was I thought that was
Yeah,
very interesting.
I know, and that's where some recruiter found me, right? And
Yeah.
some recruiter was like, "Oh, you were in law, like you because lawyers really, really want people that understand
Mhm.
how law firms operate and how
Yeah.
lawyers operate. So there weren't there weren't a lot of communications people that had that type of experience. So
Oh, yeah.
that's sort of how I ended up there.
Yeah, that's great. It's always fun to combine the interests, though, and experiences and make it all work perfectly. So
I It was a good combination, and it worked for me for a long time. I was at the law firm for almost 15 years. I added
well,
another.
that's great. Well, tell me this, as an expert in the communications field, what is what are some things from your career that you feel everyone should know that could benefit them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing that I'd like everybody to know is that we're all a little messed up and we're all a little scared and that it's okay. So, I when I think of, let's say, some of my greatest success stories,
Mhm.
I think about a very impressive executive that I dealt with who's like, I don't want to talk to a reporter. I don't want to do that video.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that speech, not interested.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of insecurity behind it, a lot of
Oh,
fear.
yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
And
It
that's what
triggers you.
no, and I mean, I think that there are statistics that point to like people saying that public speaking, for instance, is one of their biggest fears.
Mhm.
And so I now have a lifelong career of dealing with those people. And I love the stories like with this executive who went from fearing it, not wanting to do it, to excelling. And I want everybody to know that like so many other things, it's a skill. It
Yes.
is a skill. It can be learned, and it
Yes.
can be learned from multiple standpoints too. So, for instance, I think for a long time, for most of my career, and arguably since high school, I've been looking at communications as messaging and delivery of that message. As an adult, the thing that I've been looking at is also mindfulness, and it sounds corny, but
Oh, no, I agree.
yeah, so I became a certified mindfulness
Yes.
instructor over the
Great.
past couple of years. And so what I'm now doing is trying to bring the mindfulness together with the communication expertise. And when you take those two things and you put them together, I really honestly believe that anyone can get up in front of a room full of 300 people and deliver their message effectively. It's just some learning and some work.
Yes. Oh, this is such an important message. Thank you. That's really, really big because it is true. It is all learnable. And I love that you're using the mindfulness. This is actually something that I've been doing training myself on, and it is incredible how it can shift your focus from whatever's happening in your head just to being right there in that moment and giving you the ability to move forward with whatever it is that you're trying to move forward with. But
Yeah, I think that mindfulness is like a superpower, and I am
agree.
so thankful to have it in my life. I wish I had it earlier, but hey, I got it now.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. And thank you for that message that this is something that we all deal with. That is so normal. I mean, you're dealing with all the CEOs, these, high level executives. They all feel the same way. Right?
Oh,
We all,
I mean, I feel
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
I
We all,
I mean, I've written about this myself. I mean, I constantly talk about how I'm still dealing with my own imposter syndrome. I mean, some people don't like imposter syndrome, but like I'm dealing with my own insecurities.
yeah,
And I am I am shy innately. I am shy. I mean, I worked at this,
yes,
like
yes.
just like, if somebody has a six pack, it's usually because I worked at this.
Exactly. And the thing is you don't seem shy, and I am shy as well. And people always tell me, "Oh, you're not shy." I'm like, "No, I am shy. I've just trained myself how
Well
to."
trained.
Right? Yes.
Well
Yeah.
trained. Well trained.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the message is that you can train yourself on anything that you wanna do.
Yeah.
So, even if
Yeah.
you're shy and you wanna be outgoing, you can train yourself on at least tactics to help you
Exactly. No,
get
and
there,
that's
yeah.
why, like, I'm really excited to start helping people some more with that and like holding their hand and trying to like help them to conquer these fears and get their stories and their message out because so many people have things to offer.
Oh, yes, that's very worthy, very, very worthy. So, you shared some of your success, what about challenges? Have there been any big struggles that you've had to deal with in later in life?
I mean, how much time do we have?
Okay. We all have struggles. Yeah. What are you willing to share with us?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of struggle. I think that again, I'll tell you like a short story that I think is
Mhm,
one professional struggle that might also help people think about communication. So early on when I was working at the law firm, I was super, super eager. I think that eagerness is both again a blessing and a curse. It's like one of
mhm.
those weird things, right? So I super, super, super eager, was writing to a very important lawyer at the firm about an opportunity to work together. And I was like so eager to like take this guy and turn him into a star, in particular because he was from a very interesting field and a field that married well with
Mhm.
what I had written about as a reporter. Um, and I very clearly remember going to his office. He was out in LA. I was visiting, and I went to his office and knocked on the door and said, "Hey, like super excited, like, hey, Marielle," and you may have gotten an email or something from me, and I wanted to see if you had like just 2 minutes to connect. And he was sitting in his chair working on the computer, and he kind of like turns his chair around and then like looks at me and says, I know who you are. I got your message and I'm too busy to talk to you.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not, no,
Thank
I'm
you.
not interested. Until like just, it's like one of those moments where you sort of like turn back into like a
Yeah.
4-year-old.
Yeah.
I felt like 4 again. It's like, oh, and all my daddy issues too, by the
Yeah.
way. Daddy doesn't.
Yeah.
But the lesson to me in that is that I am super energetic and eager and excited. And that's awesome for some people and not for everyone. And so, like, taken me a really long time to realize that I'm not for everyone. And that's always been my challenge, is like accepting that, right?
Mhm.
Like I've always been a sort of off the charts people pleaser. Um
Mhm.
and I know that sounds strange to sort of talk
Not
about.
at all.
Okay, it just feel like,
Yeah.
not like it's not like an obvious struggle.
But it really is a struggle.
It is a struggle.
Yeah.
Because
I understand. Yeah.
yeah,
It causes a lot of issues that you don't realize are happening. And you think that you're doing something good, but you're actually hurting yourself and the relationship.
exactly. So, sort of, I joke about being like a recovering people pleaser.
Me too.
I'm a people pleaser, like I just like, again, it's been, it's been, it's been a real struggle for me. And then dealing with the disappointment that result, like that's on the other side of that. And like all the internal garbage,
Mhm.
which some people might use another word for.
Feel free to say what you want. You know what I'm curious about? Because look, there's a lot of people that struggle with this.
Yeah.
What? And you said that you're recovering. So what helped you get into the recovery?
Yeah, what did help me? I mean, I would say, first of all, it was actually getting the diagnosis.
Awareness.
That's what's funny. Like, it's so true. Like, so a couple of years ago, I started working with this brilliant executive coach through a company called the Imprint Group. And she had us like all do an assessment.
Mhm.
It was like leadership circle, like
Great.
the name of the assessment. So I took the assessment, and it helped you identify strengths and weaknesses, and also explain how maybe what I thought was a strength, for instance, people pleasing,
Yeah.
at a certain level could be a weakness,
Mhm.
right? A
Yeah.
little sugar, okay.
Yeah.
But sugar,
Yeah.
bueno. Like,
Yes.
so I think that was probably what started my recovery, is
Mhm.
first understanding that this was actually a problem. I
Mhm.
don't think I knew that it was a problem. I mean, I knew that like I was hurting,
Yeah.
but I didn't understand till that assessment that like, okay, wait, I got this diagnostic now tool. I am off the charts. Like literally, like we're like, there's enough room. You circles. It's like, yeah, on this circle, you're like off the chart here. And then that like helped me to understand like how that caused me to go into reactive mode a lot. Like, so that's
Mm.
what
Mhm.
the notion was like, when are you being in a like a healthy proactive mode, and when are you in reactive? And
Yeah.
so it was like trying to start identifying, okay, like I am working way too hard, like for instance, to please jerk who turned his chair around at me.
Yes. Mhm.
And so like just to like go, sorry, I'm like talking way too much about circles, but to go
No.
circle,
Yeah.
right? Like why in LA? Like call him Mean Chair.
King-
With Mean Chair Guy, like old me was like, I am going to make Mean Chair Guy love me. Mean Chair Guy is gonna love me, right? Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
I feel you so much on this. Yes.
like new me is like Mean Chair Guy. He doesn't want
Oh,
more. So I think old me would think of Angry Chair Guy as like a challenge that I needed to conquer. Right?
yes.
Like
Yeah.
I need to make Angry Chair Guy love me.
Yeah.
And I don't, again, it's like the people pleaser in me, and the sort of more mature, healing people pleaser in me. It's like, okay, you know what, Angry Chair Guy, let him be angry in his chair.
Yeah.
Like, stay there in his chair, let him on.
Yeah.
Like, he don't want to buy what I'm selling. Fine.
Yeah. Yep.
And it goes back to like being authentic, I think, to also who you are, right? Like,
That's another
it's
big one.
okay that he's not into what I was selling.
Yeah. And that's okay. And that's okay.
Hey, it's okay. But
Yeah.
I think only in the last couple of weeks I've realized that. Not to be like,
it's a lesson I learned much later in life too. And honestly, this podcast has really helped in learning everyone else's lessons. It's really helped solidify things and shift things within me, that you may hear things, but once it starts coming in different ways, and I don't know, sometimes when you take a story and you really take it inside, it does shift something a little bit, and it makes that change.
It does.
So
I think being on a podcast is like therapy. Like, I feel like,
it
you
is.
should charge me. And you should be like, and that'll be.
That's a new business model.
I'm just saying new business model. I've been feeling like other guests of yours feel the same way. Just saying.
It is like therapy though, when you have good conversations and you're able to learn from each other. It's just so great. And I can't even believe how much I've learned from my guests. Even just this conversation, right? It's only been 35 minutes and there's so much packed in this 35 minutes already of just great, juicy little tidbits to take into your life. So moving on, you have moved up the ranks to a chief communications officer. And really, for anyone in the communications, that could be their ultimate goal. How did you get there? What helped you get there, would you say? Is there any advice you would give people to help move themselves up the corporate ranks?
This is funny. Like, I'm sorry. It's like even just funny, like hearing you say that, like, because it makes me feel old on the am I just that's right.
No.
It's like, God, go back to my husband after we're done and be like, me, like,
No, we keep going. But there's a lot of people wanting to make it a chief.
I'm done. I mean, like, I think, yeah, like, how did I get here is so interesting. I feel like it was so circuitous, like with so many of the ups and downs. And I think what helped me through it was always seeing the opportunities, even in difficult, so, I think I've been through, like so many people, a lot of, crappy situations.
Yeah.
And I think that through every crappy situation, I was like, I'm going to find my way through this. Like, there's going to be like some way that I can get through it, and also very selfishly work it to my advantage in like a way, like I'm going to step over other people. I never would do that. But like, feel like in all the situations that were tough, I found a way to help other people out because it's what I naturally wanted to do.
Right.
And I also found a way to make it work for me.
That's awesome.
So I one of my favorite animals are polar bears.
Okay, why? I'm curious. I love polar bears, but tell me why you love them.
I mean, I really love them just because they're big, white, and fluffy. Like, big, white, fluffy. They're just like, and there's something I think amazing about them being like massive, but so cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like, again, that was
Yeah.
my 3-year-old answer to,
Yeah. But go on.
my 48-and-a-half-year-old answer to it is that I've learned to appreciate polar bears more as an adult because they thrive in really difficult
Right.
environments.
Right.
And that's what I feel like I've been able to do. And so, I think that that's what was integral to my success. Like saying that, being in a difficult situation and saying, you know what, I'm going to find a way to thrive.
Mhm.
Just like the polar bear, I learned to, like, polar bears are really, really good at walking on thin ice,
I didn't know
right?
that. I mean, there would have to be. It makes sense, but yeah.
Right. Like they've adapted um their claws, and they have like special things on their, like, the bottom of their paws to help them do that. I mean, there's massive,
Yeah, that's
and so, like, okay, I'm a small little woman. And I and it and I have the opposite problem. I've had to make myself big,
right. Yeah.
right, in my world. Super tiny. I'm like this big, Jolie.
Yeah.
Okay, like, and for, yeah, I say on, like, a podcast, but, like, imagine, yeah, like a little Lego.
I'm really short too. So
Yeah, I'm like so tiny, and everyone's like, you sound tall. I had to work to make myself big, and I had to work to be okay with who I am, and I'm
Mm,
still working on. So, like, not listening to the people that were like, you need to go in and don't be funny and don't do this and don't do that. Like, I've had to sort of, like, eschew some of
mhm.
that. And rather, like, really figure out again how I can make the situation work for
Yeah.
me individually. Like, it's like, um, you have to trust yourself at the end of the day and take what other people tell you with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
So I'd say, like, got to chief by trusting myself, but also being really smart about understanding my environment.
Mhm.
Like, going back to my polar bear
Yeah.
thing, like,
Mhm.
is the ice thin? Is it really
Mhm.
cold? Who are my who are my adversaries
Mhm.
here? Who are going to be my friends? Like, understanding the environment has been so incredibly important, and then walking carefully on the ice.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting because I've noticed, throughout your story and talking, you've talked a lot in different aspects about just when you have the struggles, finding that opportunity. Whatever situation that comes across, you try to find that opportunity and make it work for you. And to me, I see that as a superpower, absolutely a superpower that you carry with you in life because any situation can be good or bad depending on the perspective that you bring to it. And even situations that inherently feel very bad immediately. I mean, we know these situations that are just really hard times in life. Even with those, there can always be some kind of gift that can be found if you go looking for it, if you go and try and make it work for you like you do. So I just want to applaud you for that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we all need that,
Yeah,
right?
that's very cool. And then as far as a chief communications officer who hires people and who is bringing people up through the ranks, what do you look for in someone that you want to promote into higher levels?
Yeah, no, it's another really interesting question that I've never thought about before. So I'd say, first of all, that it's hard for me not to think about passion or interest, like,
Mhm.
and that's a little bit of my own personal bias, but passion is so important for me, for somebody to believe in what they're doing and they're selling.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people, myself included, probably at some point talk about how they want to be a leader.
Mhm.
And it's a very common thing with, I feel like a lot of people say this about millennials, but let's be honest, I think it was probably true about many of our contemporaries too. Like, I want to be a manager. I want to be
Yeah.
a director.
Yeah.
And what I'm looking for are the people that are not wanting to do that, are already doing that.
Right.
And,
Right.
it's already like part of how they're behaving day in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, taking care of the people around you is, to me, part of that,
Right.
and so important. So I'm looking for people that are already acting like a leader, and to me, that's not, yeah, like, it's bossing people
Mhm.
around. Look at how great I am at doing this, which is what unfortunately a lot of people think.
Yeah. Yep.
But the people that are like coming to me and saying, Jackie did an amazing job on this project, and I'm wondering if we can include her in this other thing that we
Mhm.
have. Or, hey, have you thought about, maybe we should really include like Jill in this
Mhm.
call that's going on. It's like there's little things like that when people are reminding me that I should be including others. Like, that's
Mm.
what I'm always paying attention. I
I
also
really love that.
appreciate
Yeah.
leaders because
Yeah.
we don't remember everything.
Mhm.
And I've got a person worse at that.
We can all relate to that. But I love that. Noticing how people are helping lift others up. Those are the people that you want to promote yourself. Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
I want
that's yeah, you want lifters. That's who we all want in organizations. I mean, successful companies are only successful because they are run by successful people. People are doing things. So we want the best people possible.
yeah.
And now I like this question because I just feel like we get a lot of bad advice at times in life. And I'm curious if you were given any advice from an authority figure or someone important in your life that you actually had to then go relearn later on in life.
Well, fortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, when I'm still upset about it. Like, I think like you asking it, I'm getting upset again. Because I had a boss who was a micromanager, and
Hmm.
and I realized that she was a micromanager at the time. But the problem was that I had a team, and that she wanted me to micromanage
Ugh,
my team for her. It was like,
yeah.
like a sort of like micromanaging, like, cascade.
Yeah, no, I cannot handle. Yeah. So,
And I still feel so bad to the people that worked with me
mhm,
during that period of time.
mhm.
And I think I've apologized to a couple of them too.
That's awesome.
Um, but like, I'm so sad that I worked for somebody like that, and that I let her
Right.
influence my leadership style.
Right.
But the only sort of silver lining is hopefully the people that work for me and were, slightly micromanaged for a short period of time have not sort of continued that.
That
But
cycle. Yeah.
yeah, and again, just the silver lining is I am now the opposite of a micromanager, and
Yeah.
I will never let it to me again, and I will never let anybody that works for me do that to other people. Like, I
Mhm.
am now, like, have like micromanager, like, spidey senses,
Yes, I totally know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm like, doing that to John, like,
Yeah.
like, I'm cured of that, but I'm still really sad that was part of my story.
Yeah.
There,
It's
and
it's more prevalent than you would think. It's more prevalent than it absolutely should be, I can tell you this, and as a recruiter, this is a very, very big reason why people leave their companies I mean, the micromanagement is not a thriving atmosphere for corporations. If any hiring managers listen, micromanaging is killing your creativity. It is killing your success,
well,
not helping it.
wow.
So So thank you for sharing that. That's really big. Now, I'm curious because you mentioned that you were thinking about coaching. Are you going into coaching? Is this something like if people
Yeah.
are listening?
I mean, I'm here. I'm with you. I'm doing it.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
yes. Fantastic. You guys heard it here first. Arielle is going into coaching. So if you're looking for some executive coaching, this is your woman. She has been doing this with all of the executives. She's been through all of the things. Yes, I'm really excited for you. I think that's going to be amazing. So, so is there been any kind of book or talk or video, something that's really impacted your life that you think other people should read or listen to as well?
I'd love to like sit here, like the sort of the media trainer in me, right? It's like,
Mhm.
"Harry, tell her about reading my novel. That's impressive." But it's like a um,
Yeah.
but the reality is that oh, like um I'd say that if there was anything that's inspired me throughout my life, it's ET.
Oh,
Because
okay, why? Love that movie. Why?
I mean, like again, because I I I think the most important thing in life is to be good to other people, and
Right.
like little ET says at the end to Elliot, like be good.
Oh,
Joke a lot, like I joke a lot. Like I've got my best business advice and life advice from an alien.
I love that so much.
Like when and also going back, my dad like told me before like my first day at work, he said, you know, um, be nice to everyone.
Right,
Be nice to everyone from like the guy that delivers your mail to the
right.
receptionist um to the people that are working in C-suite, and that served me really, really. And I
Yes.
just feel like if everybody did, how much better would our world be? So everybody
Oh,
should
amazing.
watch ET.
And
The
be
poor
good.
peanut. Like so, very, very humble, simple advice
I
that I
love
think.
it. It's my favorite. Thank you. And so, wrapping up, last question. What are you sure of in life?
Again, like the question. I feel like there should be like a tissue box here provided for me. I am sure that things that matter are so small yet big, right? Like so, the things that matter at the end of the day to me are my family, being loved, having fun, and not LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Whether I wrote a book or not, although it's like awesome that people are writing books, you included. Um, but at the end of the day, it's like the simple little thing.
Right. Thank you. I completely agree. Arielle, this has been so much fun. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, friends, for joining us. If you enjoyed the show, there are many more episodes and messages just like this that can be found on the Fresh Blood Killing It After 40 podcast, as well as the subsequent YouTube channel or at the joliedowns.com website. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful and fulfilling day.